Hello and welcome to episode 29 of the Jeffrey and Brian Show. I'm Jeffrey,
I'm Brian.
and we're just two guys drinking beer, talking about what's going on. A lot of stuff happened this past week. Uh, we're gonna cover a bunch of stuff. You know, everything from Hanoi Jane speaking out again. You know, what's changed with Cuomo, Biden calling a bunch of the population Neanderthals. You know, all the way down to why you are racist, Brian.
Well, because I'm white.
It goes deeper than that.
I'm supposed to be paying reparations.
You know what? All those years ago, that might have been completely reasonable. 40 acres and a mule.
Yeah.
But just the way anything is, when you reproduce. That's what I'm looking for. You make more of you than there were, and there's too many descendants to possibly get 40 acres and a mule to now. That's a story for another day. Maybe that's something we could do a little in-depth digging on. No one will ever come to an agreement on that, though. Well, I do want to, for the most part, start out. I'm going to give Biden some praise first thing.
All right.
The wife and I noticed this a while ago when we were getting ready to have a baby, but there's a lot of heavy metals in baby food, in particular Gerber.
Okay.
This is not new, and has not been hidden from people. News report just made its way in circulation again. You know, they come up every now and then.
Yeah.
But because everyone's at home now doing this instead of work, people are actually seeing this stuff, and they're realizing they're feeding their babies, arsenic, zinc, sometimes even lead. Tiny portions, but they're little tiny babies. That's actually why we went out and bought a food processor thing just for making baby food. We make all of our own baby food, which, by the way, we've already made our money back on that investment, making baby food versus buying the jarred stuff. And we know exactly what she's getting to eat.
Right.
But I like that Biden's cracking down because not everyone has the time and the effort to put in for that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I'm glad that his FDA is looking into this.
Okay.
I gotta give credit where it's due. He's doing something good, and I got a feeling for another 2 years, and about another 2 years, we're gonna be talking a lot of trash on Biden until he accidentally falls down the stairs and dies.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was the one thing I wanted to bring up before. To get going.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see David Hogg's? Which we've mentioned this before, right? The David Hogg pillow thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That might already be dead in the water.
Why is that?
Apparently, somebody sniped his trademark registration for was it my pillow or our pillow or whatever it is? Good pillow.
Good pillow is what you got on here.
Yeah, I think that's hilarious. I'm not sure.
So now, if he wants to use the name Good Pillow, he's got to pay somebody on top of the actual pillow thing for the trademark.
Or the guy can just say, no, you can't use it.
Yeah.
But I think that's pretty hilarious. You think you would?
So he came out with a name for his pillow before he actually trademarked the name?
Well, I mean,
he's a very astute business person, huh? He knows everything about business.
The thing is, you can do that as long as you establish yourself before it becomes an issue.
Right.
Like, we've been doing this show long enough that if someone else tried to come up with the Jeffrey and Brian show, we've been doing it long enough and publishing it long enough, we could make a claim that that's ours.
Yeah.
But this kid's just come out, hasn't done anything yet.
No, he's hired a bunch of staff members for his board that don't know anything about business.
No, it's hilarious. Exactly. It's a bunch of diversity hires. He hired a rainbow to look good, and nobody had any idea what they were doing, and he's going to lose a ton of money. And I think it's hilarious. I mean, it sucks to be him, and I feel bad for the kid because I don't wish ill on him, but that was a stupid thing to do.
Well, he's trying to, be woke and fight against my pillow.
I keep getting the weirdest feedback from something. I don't know if you're hearing it, but I think
I don't hear any feedback on my end.
Yeah, I think it's just my wires. I like hard wires. I think it's because I have wires on top of wires. I think I'm
Maybe.
getting some EMF interference. Which is weird because it only happens like when I move certain ways.
Huh, that is weird.
Yeah. And I got something here about Twitter. Twitter's being used. A lot of progressives are throwing stuff back on a lot of Democrats and promises they made about a whole bunch of stuff that they went the other way on.
Well, that one lady that was up for a cabinet position and didn't get it, she deleted 1,000 of her tweets from the past, of her inflammatory and racist tweets. And
Saw something about that.
And she still didn't get elected. I mean, I think people forget that when you post something on social media, it just doesn't go away. It's still searchable. It's still findable. That's why you kind of, that's why on my Facebook page, I don't post a lot of political stuff anymore because I've got clients that are on my Facebook page, and other people that don't believe the same thing I believe politically.
You would have to have your own a separate page for who you really are versus your public face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of work that I don't want to go through. I'm not that big into Facebook anymore anyway, so I don't worry about it. I just don't post on there.
I like to see how much I can piss someone off by stating fact lately.
I know. That's what you like to do, and I'll just live vicariously through you.
I especially I don't do Twitter because I am not a Twitter user.
No.
But I do like going back in the past and finding stuff people have said and showing it to them and just watching their heads explode and they get pissed at me. I'm like, you said it.
Yeah. You don't remember saying this? I mean, come on. You said it. It's right here.
You called me a Nazi because I took your point, this point of view. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't go away. I don't know if you're familiar with Styx Hexenhammer 666.
We talked about him on the show before.
Yeah, he's got YouTube. He's getting big. He's the #1 subscribed person on BitChute. He has the most followers of anyone on BitChute since they've started, actually. And he's big on Rumble.
Okay.
He archives everything he uses as a source.
Right.
So he basically takes a picture of it and saves it.
Yeah.
So if anyone says, well, that's not what it is now, it's like, well, you changed it. And, here's the original posted on such date.
Mm-hmm.
Which that sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah. But, he's covering his butt in the long run,
True. And he makes his living on it. That and he writes weird books about occult literature, like magic and stuff. Yeah, pagans and fairies and weird stuff. But, so are we not doing a State of the Union?
No, he said he won't do a State of the Union until the latest stimulus bill is signed into law. Which the Senate just passed it today. It's got to go back to the House of Representatives because of the changes that the Senate made in it. And then they're supposed to vote it on Tuesday. If they approve it without making changes to it again, it'll probably be on Biden's desk by the end of the week.
Seems like a convenient excuse.
Well, it is.
Now, it's not unprecedented. I've done some digging.
No, it's not. In the first year in office, they usually do it, and it's usually done later on than in January, just because they just got in office in January.
Yeah, you haven't got a full turnover yet.
Yeah. So, I mean...
Well, to be as late as March, it has been since Jimmy Carter.
Right.
Which I was actually starting to write down the dates of all the different addresses, but then the first Bush, I think, one of them wasn't technically a State of the Union, but he still addressed the legislature.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't know. It's been a long time since it's made it to March without a State of the Union address.
Well, I would get used to seeing the president virtually a lot.
The new normal.
Yep.
Oh, so when he says I'm ready to take questions, they can cut off his live feed.
Yeah.
You saw that, right?
Yeah. And it didn't even, that's not the whole line he said. I mean, that's what I've heard on a couple of different
I guess that's
sources.
what I'm supposed to do.
He's like, I'm ready to take questions from the Democrat members of the audience.
I didn't hear that. What I heard was, I'm ready to take questions now. If that's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, if that's what I'm supposed to do. You're the president of the United States. You should know what you're supposed to be doing.
Well, then they cut the live feed, and and people came to his support defense, like, oh, he answered questions, just not on the live show. Like, why would you cut a live feed of the president of the United States answering questions?
Yeah.
I was like, are you kidding me? That's like the best news source. You know what I mean? It's like from the mouth of the president.
And that's what, was so great about President Trump. He may not have done the press conferences anymore, but he answered the press's questions every time he went to Marine One. And every time he came off Marine One. I don't even think Biden's been on Marine One yet.
What's funny is I think it's funny. We still call it Marine One, but no matter what aircraft the president flies in, it's Air Force One. We call it Marine One because it's a Marine aircraft.
No, well, it's a helicopter. Technically, the helicopter is called Marine One.
It's still Air Force One if the president is flying in it, though.
It doesn't use that call sign.
Actually, I bet that is their call sign, and Marine One is the generic term they use for it because, call sign tells everyone what's going on, and Air Force One will always say the president is in this aircraft.
I don't know. That's something to look into.
It is. But from what I understand is if I own a single prop engine biplane and the president gets in and takes a ride with me, technically that's Air Force One. That's my understanding of it, though.
Well, Secret Service is never going to let that happen.
No, that would be pretty badass, though, wouldn't it? But yeah, apparently there were threats to bomb the State of the Union, and wasn't Biden supposed to be inaugurated as like the 15th or 18th president of the United States on Thursday?
Trump was.
That's what I meant. Trump on Thursday.
Yeah, yesterday or the day before yesterday on the 4th of March. The true inauguration day.
I had heard nothing of
the United
this.
States.
I had heard nothing of this until the day of this, and I was like, "What? This is some crazy conspiracy theories." Like I'm usually up on these.
It briefly before that, and I was like, "Yeah, whatever," Yeah, I like to listen to the conspiracies, but that was even too far gone for me, Somehow magically Trump was going to be inaugurated that day and Biden wasn't going to be president anymore.
Oh, their leaps of logic were unbelievable. Like, at least I could listen to the QAnon people.
And then they picked up security again at the Capitol complex, and big surprise, nothing happened. Nobody showed up.
It's another excuse for more guns at the Capitol, dude.
Yeah, you heard what that. This isn't on our topic list, but since we're talking about guns at the Capitol, actually,
I got something about guns in here.
The general that's in charge of the 9/11 style investigation, came out and said they need to create a quick reaction force for the Capitol area and hire so many new policemen to do it, and it'll cost like $1 billion to do, and we should do it.
This sounds like the opposite of defund the police.
It is because but I'm thinking, doesn't the FBI have a QRF? Doesn't the Secret Service have a QRF?
QRF.
Quick Reaction Force. Doesn't the DC Police have a QRF?
Yeah, I'm sure
we really need
I'm sure the DC Police have a brand new SWAT team.
QRF for the Capitol area.
Actually, that's something that's going to be brought up a little bit later. Is DC becoming a state?
That's going to be a hard sell too.
Yeah, that's actually something we talk about. Is it even constitutional? But I did before we get into our topics. I want to mention that this bothers me, but I understand because what else are you supposed to do? But Kayleigh McEnany got hired on by Fox News, and it bothers me just because it I don't know.
Well, when she left the White House before the inauguration, there was already rumors swirling around that she was going to get a position at Fox. That was always in the rumor mill.
Well, what do you expect the Secretary of Press to do besides go get a job in the in press? You know what I mean?
I mean, we got Donna Brazile working at Fox. Why can't the press secretary from Trump's administration work at Fox?
And Bush, right?
Yeah.
But Bush's press secretary is still working at Fox. Dana Perino?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
Bush. That was Bush, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, it kind of
people
bothers
got to
me.
make a living, you know.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
have a problem with that.
Yeah, well, I don't exactly. I don't know what I was supposed to do, but it just seems like you got the job because you are, the president's press secretary. But more likely, is you the president's press secretary because you knew how to do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And she's actually come out and she talked on Fox recently about you can play your clip now. You can play your Jennifer Psaki clip.
Oh, damn. Oh, Jesus.
You ready?
Yeah, there we go. I'm ready.
All right, go for it.
We'll circle back with you directly. I can circle back. I'll circle back with you.
Sorry, I wasn't prepared. I didn't have the sound far
she made a statement about Jennifer Psaki and her circle back statement on Fox recently.
We'll circle back with you directly.
She never ever had to say that in her briefings because she had carte blanche access to President Trump and she knew where he stood on all the issues. If she ever had a question about where he stood on the issues, she could walk into the Oval Office and ask them directly.
Well, as weird as it sounds, and I know it's going to sound weird because the president of the United States is a very, very busy person.
Yes.
But isn't that the job of these people is to have the ear of the president?
It should be. If she really had the ear of the president, would she have to keep saying circle back all the time?
Good question. And McEnany, as much as a lot of people hated her,
we got two different style of presidents here too. President Trump was out in the public, didn't believe in masks, didn't believe in social distancing to a certain degree. He's always been a germaphobe, so he never shook hands. He was big on hand sanitizer long before the whole COVID-19 thing. Biden tries to limit the amount of people that are around him at all times. He did his whole campaign from the basement. And he did all his campaign events at drive-in movie theaters and places like that where people were way, way, way away from him, So who knows who the circle of people that really get close to him in the White House is and how small it is.
Or this is actually something I almost set up as an entire topic, how Biden's a puppet.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the guy can't form a sentence.
Showing international effort to pressure.
I mean, that's the words that come out of his mouth. And he's got his VP doing international phone calls.
Yeah, he's given a lot more authority to his VP than anybody else ever has. And maybe he didn't give it to her, but somebody did.
Now, there's an idea. Just an idea. I'm not suggesting any changes. All right. The idea of the president is to be able to have a quick response in terms of military, right? Is one person that makes a decision when it comes down ultimately, right?
Right.
Because otherwise we have a Congress and, all this other stuff for everything else.
Mm-hmm.
What if we expanded that to 3 people? And just needed a 2/3 majority for example, nuclear codes.
I don't agree with that. On nuclear codes, I mean, whether I agree with who's in the office or not, that needs to be sole discretion of the president of the United States.
Well, they're trying to take away the nuclear codes from the president of the United States. And
that ain't going to happen.
No, it's not. But are they saying they don't trust this man's ability to make that decision?
Then they shouldn't have trusted him to be voted into office as president.
The president seems to have way too much power the last 70 or 80 years, And realistically, the president should be doing national defense. And for the most part, that's it, right?
Yeah.
It just seems like we don't have states anymore.
Launching nuclear weapons should be a national defense issue.
Yeah, and they're trying to take that away from the president. How many people would you want to have to sign off to launch nuclear weapons back at someone who's already launched theirs? Oh, we need 35 signatures to do this. It's like, oh, well, we have 4 minutes.
There's not enough time for that.
Yeah, we have 4 minutes before they hit. It's like we're just making sure they die too at this point, you know?
Yeah, mutual assured destruction.
And as terrible as a plan as that is, it seems to be working in terms of another nuclear weapon being deployed, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
Oh Jesus! Wow. All right, I lost my. There it is. I was like, I lost my Google Doc. Oh, I see you signed in with. Oh, damn! Meant to bring this up. If you want to contact us, you can find us at the Jeffrey and Brian Show at gmail.com.
Yes,
I noticed that because you
I
were
actually
logged
set
in.
it up the wrong way the first time. I had the Brian and Jeffrey show on the first email. And when you're like, this doesn't work, I'm like, I went back and looked at it. It's like, oh, yeah, that's why it doesn't work. It's the wrong way. That's what happens when you set something up drunk.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not even going to tell you all the places you could find our show. I'm just going to put it this way. Ask any smart device you have to find the Jeffrey and Brian Show, and it will find us, which is really freaking cool, right? Yeah, your Alexa, your Google, your Siri, whatever you got. Your phone can find it. How's that?
Yeah, we're findable.
Yeah. Depending on where you find it, might be a little different, but the show is itself the same. The intro, I'm getting ready to do a new, not necessarily new intro, but an intro for the YouTube version.
Okay.
Just because I'm not getting the Podbean version, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think I might have a couple goofy sound clips of Trump saying something funny or I don't know.
Yeah, I saw
Biden.
you're working on a logo. I didn't know where you wanted to use that logo at. So
no, not so much a logo. I like to put a different thumbnail for each episode.
Yeah.
But I thought some funny royalty-free music with stuff like
you are fake news.
Throughout it might be funny as we, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But back to what we're doing. I'm excited. I got a feeling we might actually start making an entertaining show here.
Right.
Back to what
I did, like I mentioned beforehand, I gave the link to my stepson in January, and I saw him today. He's like, "Hey, I've been listening to the show,"
Yeah,
like,
and
what? And he actually wants to come on it at some point, So,
absolutely. Everyone's welcome, especially if you disagree.
We love having the more the merrier, and if you have a different point of view, that's okay too. We don't care about that either. We actually prefer it if we can get somebody on the show that has a little bit different point of view from the normally three of us.
True, but if you want to come on and disagree, we're cool with that. Just don't be a.
What a bag.
You gotta be you gotta be able to debate. You gotta have facts behind your opinions, and don't get offended by our opinions.
No, you don't necessarily have to have facts, and you can get offended, but just don't be a jackass,
right?
Because you don't have a good argument,
right?
It's like if it makes me feel, I understand it makes me feel is an argument, it is, but it can only take you so far. And when it comes to policy, right? Did you see back to what we were talking about?
Okay.
But yeah, no, he's definitely welcome to listen to play. This is a ridiculous game that we play here. That hopefully he likes to drink beer too.
I think he drinks with hard stuff, but that's okay too.
That's all right. Did you see the Newsom recall?
Yeah. I've been watching this for a while, and
Last I saw it was 1.4 million.
Yeah. And have they all been validated?
That's what's hilarious. They have to validate the signatures on a recall of vote. Oh my God. The whole argument for the presidential thing, why the Republicans were a bunch of Nazis and are conspiracy theorists, because they wanted validation on who voted. And now their argument is saying, well, how do we know that's a real person that signed that?
Right.
What? Why is this not? Where are the Republicans? Like this is why I don't associate with the Republican Party.
I know.
They just get kicked in the nuts like, oh, thank you, sir. May I have another?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even when the Republicans are in charge of everything, they don't act like it. They still act like they lost. So.
No, realistically, what the Republicans have been for a while is a heavy weight tied to the Democrat Party. So the Democrats can't, basically, they're slowing them from going further left. Yeah,
Right.
they're still going left, but they're going slower.
Right.
I don't hear, we got the sanctuary cities for illegal immigrants, right?
Yep.
We're the sanctuary cities for automatic firearms.
They started to create them.
Yeah, watch how fast the ATF shows up to your house.
I mean, there's sanctuary cities for the Second Amendment here in Virginia.
Are there?
Yeah.
By that you mean I could own any weapon?
Well, yeah. I think they were going with that. They weren't going to enforce any new laws from the federal government to infringe on gun owners' rights to own a gun, type of thing.
I could still, I don't know. The way I read it is I should be allowed to own any weapon the United States government should be allowed, can own, right? That's the way I read it.
Yeah.
And not just that, but the government should, not only should I be allowed to have these weapons, but I should be allowed to train with other people to prepare for a fight against the United States government. That's what I read out of the Second Amendment anyway.
Uh-huh.
Well-regulated militias, and I know a lot of people think that means regulation, like laws and sanctions. But I think, it's regular, like you poop every day, you're regular, it works well. It's well regulated. Yeah. Speaking of guns, though, this violent insurrection. You hear they were
where they found absolutely no guns in the violent insurrection.
The only gun involved was the one used to kill Ashley Babbitt, a United States Air Force veteran.
That was security personnel for one of the congressmen.
Yeah. Keep hearing.
The holes are getting bigger and bigger in the story.
They're still making it sound like this is the worst thing that's ever happened, and it was an attempt at a revolution. And it's like,
no.
It was like
if it was an
200
attempted
people.
revolution, there would have been guns found. There would have been guns there. These were, I don't know.
The people that they're accusing of attempting a revolution are the same people that we all agree that when they get real pissed off, they build and use serious weaponry.
Yeah.
No, I'll give this to them. When the lefties get pissed off, the worst they typically do is riot for the most part. They'll burn a building down. A couple people might die. It's very unfortunate.
Uh-huh.
But when the right-wing dudes lose their shit, they build explosive devices and take out federal buildings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
Timothy McVeigh.
Yeah. And if you say that this was their attempted revolution and not a single bomb detonated,
right?
I don't believe it.
Not a single weapon was found.
Apparently they found 5 pipe bombs, but I haven't heard anything more about that. So I don't know. I don't know. For all I know, someone threw a pipe in the trash can and someone lost their shit.
Right.
Just kind of seems like they're making a mountain out of a molehill, and they're trying.
Well, yeah, because it's an
us.
excuse to keep the wall up around the Capitol complex. It's an excuse to keep the National Guard there.
Aren't walls racist?
Well, yeah, and we can't have a wall on the southern border, but we can sure have a wall around the Capitol building.
With how many guns on the other side of it?
Thousands.
Actually, I don't know how many guns there actually are. Those guys aren't carrying rifles, are they? I honestly don't know.
I would not think the National Guard would not have their M16s on them at all times.
What was that?
I would think the National Guard would have their weapons on them at all times. Otherwise,
M16s,
there'd be an M16.
It's a pretty serious weapon.
Well, it's either that or a 9mm. They're going to be armed. They're in the National Guard.
You can give them batons and pepper spray.
No, I don't think that's what's happening here.
Hurricane relief, they don't always have M16s on them.
Yeah, well, they're on a different mission then.
I suppose.
This is a security mission. They're going to have guns.
Oh,
That's what their orders say, whether it's really the truth or not.
Good point. Nancy Pelosi wanted crew manned machine guns, like belt fed 50 cals. There,
The inauguration.
yeah, that's kind of
And
nuts.
that's another thing. What protesters showed up for that? None.
It's because nobody knows what any of this stuff means. They think assault rifle is a thing, first of all, but they think a semi-automatic rifle is the same thing as a crew manned machine gun.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea that? I know you do, but does the average person have any idea the damage a belt fed machine gun would do in a residential area?
I haven't seen it in a residential area, but I've seen it in action out, in a field, on a battlefield, or in a training session.
Hundreds of rounds a minute.
Yeah.
And they're not these little tiny 9mm rounds that you put in your pistol. These things are like an 1.5 inches long and like the size of a dime a round.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise, can you imagine what would happen if they got loosed in DC?
It's crazy.
And if someone has one of those in DC, I want to have a rifle to be able to pick that jerk off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I am not by any way saying you should shoot at National Guard. I'm just saying that I want to be able to stop someone with a belt-fed machine gun.
Right.
I had to put that out there before we get canceled here.
Well, I think podcasting is going to be the last bastion of free speech when it comes right down to it.
Oh, I got a feeling we're going to go past that, and we're going to go back to pirate radio.
Oh, isn't that kind of what podcasts are?
Kind of, but we have to have someone else say, okay, publish your stuff here.
Well, I mean, in theory, you could set up your own server.
In theory, but I would have to have
because
a server.
that's how Apple gets around a lot of their issues, is because they say they don't actually have any of these files on their servers. They just have the RSS link.
Yes, and actually, I've heard some brilliant things about that. Isn't that actually the entire thing that people want to happen to like Facebook and Twitter?
Yeah.
As people publish what they want to do, and you have no control over it. You have nothing. Everyone posts to their own thing on their own computer.
Yeah.
And then other people have access to that through the net versus
right.
Possibly. We'll see how it all works out. I don't know enough about all of this.
Yeah.
But I am prepared to learn how to broadcast an AM signal. Hey, come on. How much fun? Seriously, we might actually get like 6 or 7 more listeners if I get arrested by the FCC for pirate radio.
You got to get a license to be on the broadcast. All right. I got to take a break.
How does the FCC exist, by the way? That's censorship by definition.
Yep.
All right, go take your break. I'm going to hit pause there.
All right.
8:30, so I know I can cut those couple minutes out, a couple seconds. Sorry about that. I took the opportunity to smoke some of my medicine.
Yeah. And now you got to drink some beer to clear your throat.
I'm gonna have to. Which is funny is actually my neurologist. I mentioned that cannabinoid plants
Yeah.
have been helping with the side effects of my medication, and he actually recommended growing it myself because it's going to cost me less money than even a card.
Mm-hmm.
And recommended, certain stuff, and I was like, oh, cool. We'll get to that. Oh, shit. Oh, apparently I never hit pause. That sucks. Oh well.
You got the time mark down, so
Because that's exactly why I did it.
8:30. We're back at 8:34.
Yep, that's exactly why I did, so I can go back and do exactly that. But we'll get back to actually that, because we got something in here today about that with our quote segment. I don't know what else to call it, with cannabis. But what was it? Golden Globes just gave Hanoi Jane. What was it? A lifetime achievement? They called it something else, didn't they?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a lifetime achievement award. That pissed off a lot of people for a lot of reasons. There you go.
Yeah, because she it was a weird speech that she gave. I'm trying to find the post on it, the link.
Wait, hold on.
All right.
We are a community of storytellers, aren't we? And in turbulent, crisis-torn times like these, storytelling has always been essential. You see, stories have a way they can change our hearts and our minds. They can help us see each other in a new light, to have empathy, to recognize that for all our diversity, we are humans first, right? I've seen a lot of diversity in my long life, and at times I've been challenged to understand some of the people I've met. But inevitably, if my heart is open and I look beneath the surface, I feel kinship. That's why all of the great conduits of perception, Buddha, Muhammad, Jesus, Lao Tse, all of them spoke to us in stories and poetry and metaphor, because the non-linear, non-cerebral forms that are art speak on a different frequency. And they generate a new energy that can jolt us open and penetrate our defenses so that we can see and hear what we may have been afraid of seeing and hearing. Just this year, Nomadland helped me feel love for the wanderers among us, and Minari opened my eyes to the experience of immigrants dealing with the realities of life in a new land, and Judas and the Black Messiah, Small Axe, U.S. versus Billie Holiday, Ma Rainey, One Night in Miami, and others have deepened my empathy for what being Black has meant. Rami helped me feel what it means to be Muslim American. Oh, I May Destroy You has taught me to consider sexual violence in a whole new way. The documentary All In reminds us how fragile our democracy is and inspires us to fight to preserve it. And a life on our planet shows us how fragile our small blue planet is and inspires us to save it and ourselves. Stories, they really can change people.
There's more. I'm gonna play the rest of it here. this is like a 4.5 minute speech. It just seems like forever when I'm sitting here playing it and listening to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I finally found the link on here. Took me a minute, and she got awarded the Cecil B. DeMille Award.
Yes.
And normally the people that get this award
right there in the Google Doc, dude.
I know. I had a hard time finding it in the Google Docs.
It's right at
Normally,
the top.
the people that win this award walk down memory lane discussing their numerous career highlights, but not Jennifer Fonda. She wanted to go the woke route.
Jane's short for Jennifer?
Jane Fonda, whatever. I might have had a couple of drinks. That's what the show's all about.
I was like, it might be, I don't know.
No, Jane
I
Fonda.
usually hear Jen short for Jennifer.
Jane Fonda wanted to go the woke route and talk about how much she knows about diversity and her diversity views. And did you see the ratings for the Golden Globes?
I'm sure nobody cared. But did you hear that last thing she just said? I don't know if I can do this.
I'm sure you can. Just rewind it a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I don't think I can with what I'm used, the way I have it set up. See if I
may destroy you has taught me to consider sexual. It shows us how fragile our small blue planet is and inspires us to save
think
it
it's coming up here.
and ourselves. Stories, they really can change people. But there's a story we've been afraid to see and hear about ourselves in this.
Stories that really can change people. That's where I was going is the whole what I got out of it anyway. We can all interpret it our own way, but what I got out of it was stories can change people, change hearts and minds with stories, with art, with whatever. What's the difference between art and propaganda?
Well, propaganda can be anything. It's not based on any facts or anything like that.
Neither is art.
True.
I mean, television, the TV show you watch is art, right?
Yep.
Who says that I'm pumping a message in you, like in that old Simpsons episode when they were singing, was it Yvonne Etz Niage, and it was join the Navy backwards, and they was singing it in the commercials. I don't know, just
I think there's more messages in South Park.
Yeah, South Park's very overt though, aren't they?
Yeah.
But are we gonna see more South Park or what?
I don't know.
It's getting very disappointing.
Well, I mean, Comedy Central's kind of went off on a different track, you know. I think they're trying to get away from that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you see their no, never mind. That's Comedy Central. I was thinking Cartoon Network. They got like woke commercials about be anti-racist, and
yeah,
that's a conversation for another day.
But yeah, the ratings for the Golden Globes were so pathetic that if it would have been any other show, they wouldn't have played it on the West Coast feed. They would have yanked it for reruns of something else.
Wow, that sucks.
It was like in the 18 to 49 demographics, it was like 1.2%.
Nobody cares. Well, what do we get?
Well, that is the key demographic for all the advertisers.
Yeah, but who's what? No, exactly. That's exactly the point. And who's watching new television right now? Golden Globes is what? That's not TV, is it?
I think it is.
It might be. Who's what? TV sucks lately, dude.
Oh
like,
yeah.
The new stuff is finally coming out. It's been a year.
Yeah.
We've waited for it. And it's finally coming out. And I gotta wear this mask. But now it's just the three of us, so I don't have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man. It's like I'm trying to escape from this BS.
And this I didn't watch it, but I heard about it on the No Agenda show. This Golden Globes award ceremony was done like a Zoom presentation. They had people coming on to the screen. This was all done from people's homes and stuff. There were no producers involved, no speechwriters involved, and it just looked like crap. This coming from Adam Curry, who used to be an MTV VJ back in the day when MTV was great.
I knew the name Adam Curry.
Yes.
I know the name John C. Dvorak from somewhere, but it might have been from you.
Big in the tech. He was on CNET back when CNET was really big on TV.
All right. I knew that was named from somewhere. I was like, has he just said him that many times that I'm starting to I was like, no. I was like, I know that from somewhere.
Yeah. No, he used to be on MTV. Before there was, before MTV was reality TV. We actually played movie videos.
Yeah. Oh, geez Louise. I'm trying to listen to that show. Like I said, though, I'm usually going to bed and I like to listen to a podcast. And they got that morning show style. And
Well, you
it's
got to
entertaining,
once you
but
get past the first donation segment, they kind of get away from the jingles and the stuff like that. Those jingles that they're playing are people that have donated over $100 or over $200, and they allow them to request different jingles that have been played on the show at different times over the years.
that seems stupid to me.
Well, they don't take advertisers' money.
No, I get it. I'm trying to listen to these guys talk about something. And like, hold on, we gotta, can you play this, whatever.
Well,
like,
I mean, I enjoy it. I laugh at it. I have a good time with it. But
yeah.
if you really want to, it's a podcast, so you can fast forward through that segment.
No, see, that's the issue. Is it like, I'm trying to go to sleep and go to bed, and they're doing all this stuff. You know what I mean? And actually, I'm about to start that overnight job, and I want to talk about that before we go too far.
Are you going to be able to wear headphones at the overnight job?
I can do an earbud. The guy specifically brought this up when I mentioned something to him. I'll be able to listen to it at work, no problem.
Well, you'll enjoy it at work.
With people getting de-douched or whatever. I don't know if you guys got Dave and Chuck the Freak down there. I don't know if they're syndicated, but their morning show up here that's pretty entertaining, like Rumble in the morning down there.
Yeah,
I still listen to occasionally. Oh, who knows? Maybe in a couple of weeks we'll give that format a try. See if we can do a funny morning show and do all of our stuff.
Yeah, if you can listen to it when you're not trying to go to sleep, you'll get more out of it.
Yeah.
Especially that first hour of the show.
That's the problem. Is you said the first hour. Oh my god! I don't know about you. I don't click on anything that says 3 hours or more.
I do.
Unless I specifically know it's going to be worth my time.
Well, I mean, I don't listen to it all in one sitting. So, I mean, now that Rush Limbaugh doesn't really have anything for me to listen to.
So that's 3 hours that just disappeared from your listening schedule.
And it's funny because I was paying for the Rush 24/7, and I just got an email saying my subscription's due. They want me to renew, and I'm thinking in the back of my mind is like, why? What's the point? All they're playing right now is they've got substitute hosts on who are doing a little commentary, and they're playing clips of old Rush segments from the last 30 years, which is kind of cool. But is it worth me paying $50 a year for to have access to it?
Problem is, how far up are you already paid for?
It expires in May.
So, it's one thing to not renew it, but don't cancel it. Don't be the dummy.
No.
Don't be the dummy. Like I keep you go cancel. It's like you've already paid them for the service. Just don't pay them again. And did you hear that?
Yeah.
Sorry, I hit my mic with a pen. Yeah, exactly.
No, I wasn't planning on canceling it, but I'm leaning very heavily towards not renewing.
Yeah. Well, listen to it up until your renewal point.
Yeah.
And then just don't.
Because it's going to come to a point where, as much as I hate to say it, Rush isn't going to be relevant anymore. They've got to find
Rush is already not relevant.
They got to find somebody to start stepping up their game and take Rush's place and be the spokesman of the conservative party.
I got a really bad feeling that's going to be Sean Hannity. I am not a Sean Hannity fan, but he has a huge following.
Yeah, he does.
Across many platforms.
Yeah, and he got most of his name recognition from substituting on the Rush Limbaugh show.
Really? Is that how he got the job at Fox News?
He had a radio show before he started substituting with Rush, but nobody knew about him until he went on the Rush Limbaugh show.
Interesting. I did not know that. I've listened to him a handful of times, and I say that. I've listened to him a lot. I've stopped, for the most part, listening to him because he seems not even ultra conservative, but like jackass
right
conservative. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like Rush always sounded excited Hannity
Yeah.
just sounds like he's talking down to you.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess let me sound like a liberal here. He makes me feel bad, you know.
Rush didn't do that. Rush always was. He always brought a lot of comedy into his show.
Well, he got you excited.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I wasn't a huge fan of Rush for the most part, but if someone was listening to him, I wasn't gonna shut it off, you know.
Right. Uh-huh.
What the hell were we talking about? Oh, we just did the Jane Fonda.
We just finished Jane Fonda.
Yeah,
We talked briefly. We already talked about Governor Newsom's recall.
yeah. I got nothing more on the recall for Newsom. But Jane Fonda, like that's actually what we ended the recording on was
Yeah.
she's saying that like how art can like influence culture.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't she the reason why Americans started spitting on Vietnam draftees
Yeah.
and calling them baby killer?
Yeah. Because she was the big protest leader for the Vietnam War.
Well, she went over there and it's like, oh, it's not that bad. It's like, they put you in, the nice hotel, you know. They didn't show you the guys having bamboo shoots stuck under their fingernails.
No,
you
they
know?
didn't take her to a Vietnam prisoner war camp, and show you what was going on there. She got the abbreviated tour of all the good stuff happening in Vietnam.
Yeah, just like you got a lot of people today saying, oh, it's not that bad in whatever country. And they went to the nice touristy spot, not the dump,
Yeah.
Oh, China's not that bad. I saw the Great Wall. It's like, oh, what the place they put aside for Americans to come to.
Right.
Like, yeah, go figure. You didn't see a whole bunch of Uyghur Muslims as slaves and organ farms.
You're never going to see that.
But yeah, that gives us a decent segue in terms of the media, art, the media,
All right.
influencing culture. Look at how much praise and how many awards and whatever else crap we gave to Cuomo for his COVID response. And now they're talking about, they've already actually, I said, talking about, that's when I started doing this, or actually, I think you put it up there. They're talking about stripping of his powers.
Yeah, they did.
And then they went ahead and did it since we've started getting ready for this episode.
Yeah. And you got to remember that Cuomo is a Democrat governor in a highly Democrat state. So it was the Democrats that ultimately stripped him of his emergency powers.
Yes. And what's even more infuriating, okay, that was over COVID, right?
Yeah, no, that was over the sexual harassment, I thought.
Oh, Jesus.
It could have initially, it probably was over the nursing home thing.
Well, because it seems like the sexual harassment thing is a giant smoke screen.
It is. It's definitely a giant smoke screen. Cover up all the nursing home deaths.
What was it? 15,000 people in New York City died, and we gave this guy's awards saying this is the example of how to run stuff to save lives. Meanwhile, we're calling the Florida the whole time a bunch of backwards people.
Yeah.
Florida had better numbers than New York City.
And they got a lot of older people living in Florida than they do in New York City.
Well, Florida didn't make it a point of taking every person sick with COVID and then putting them next to all of the elderly people.
No, well,
Cuomo
said
did.
That's what President Trump told him to do.
What's that?
Cuomo said he was just following the administration's direction on that.
I don't know where you heard that. I think you're drunk.
I have heard that.
Cuomo had a floating hospital at his facility, United States Navy floating hospital at his facility, and he put sick people in a nursing home. And we know that like 90% of the people that die of this disease are over 70.
Yeah.
It almost seems. Hold on. Let me go full conspiracy theory here.
I'm all about it. For those of you that are listening to the audio version of this, We now have Jeffrey with sunglasses,
I'm not Jeffrey.
a hoodie, and a ball cap on. He's in disguise.
No, I'm some other guy.
All right, whatever. I'm just playing out the audio version of the visual.
It almost seems like they let a whole bunch of people die, and not just let them die, but made them die to make terrible numbers, to make Donald Trump look bad. Almost. Because how many people died in New York City over this crap? And we said, you the guy. And we called these other people anti-science that let people go to work. And less people died and fewer people starved and fewer people lost their homes. It almost seems like this was intentional.
There's another way to look at it also, making it intentional. And that is, these people are no longer collecting Social Security. They're no longer on Medicare. So they're saving money for Social Security and Medicare.
If that's the case, then why do any of this crap? Why have any lockdown? Let us all just go about our business and let it run through the population like the flu. It doesn't make sense. Like, the conspiracy theory doesn't even make sense either. It's like,
no.
We only target New York City to do this? Or is only New York City worried about paying out their pensions?
Well, what I was reading recently was that Cuomo faked the numbers for the nursing homes because he didn't want the Trump DOJ to look into their numbers more closely and start, investigating.
Yeah. He said, yeah, because they might investigate me. It's like, so what you're saying is you hid evidence to not get in trouble?
Yeah. Exactly.
That blew my mind when I read that. I was like, this has to be Babylon B. I was like,
well, he's he's from the Democratic establishment. His brother's on CNN. The whole time COVID-19 was going on, he was on his show all the time, and they were chuckling and laughing about how great New York was doing.
Oh, the giant Q-tip?
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly, when he was getting awards and everything. And now his brother's like, oh, obviously I can't talk about this. There's a conflict.
Yeah, because CNN locked him down, They're like, hey, this is ridiculous.
CNN's still covering it, but it's...
Yeah, but they're trying to pretend like they're objective in their reporting.
If you were objective, you wouldn't have had him doing interviews about the corona response in New York City.
Well, that was Q-tip. Trump objective. Now we got to do Biden objective, And Biden was a big fan of Cuomo and his response in the COVID-19 thing, too, when he was running for president. And Biden's been asked about how he feels about Cuomo now, and he ignores all those questions. I really think that Cuomo has been put up as a sacrificial lamb for the Democrat Party.
What about Wilson?
What?
What about Wilson?
Wilson who?
Gretchen Wilson.
Oh, from Michigan?
Yeah. She's facing the same investigation and all this other stuff.
Yeah, but she also doesn't have sexual harassment charges up against her.
That's why I think I don't know if you can hear my crunching with my food. That's gross. I'm sorry. That's why I think this sexual harassment thing might be just a giant smokescreen to hide from what a terrible decision this was.
Yeah. Because
nobody's talking about Wilson.
It's Whitmer. Gretchen Whitmer.
Yeah, Whitmer. I'm sorry. Gretchen Wilson is a country singer, isn't she?
I don't know. But yeah, I know who you're talking about because I'm originally from Michigan, so I still follow Michigan politics.
I'm back in Massachusetts. I'm back following Massachusetts politics, and oh my God, I'm getting so pissed off, dude.
Well, you knew that was going to happen. You just didn't realize it at the time.
Well, yeah, but no, it didn't hit me the way I thought it was going to hit me.
Yeah.
I've been doing pretty good for the most part. I have a skill. I've been surviving on my own up here.
Yeah.
Recently, I've had an issue. I can't go to work. It got to the point where I'm not sure if I'm going to get that job back. And it's been long enough to say I need to do at least something temporary. So I went and got myself a temporary job at a grocery store.
Yep.
Stocking shelves overnight, get an extra $1 an hour overnight.
That was my first job in high school, was working in a grocery store.
A lot of people actually.
Yeah.
I'd say half the staff there is probably under 20.
Oh yeah.
Well, this is not a right to work state, and there's a union here.
Yep. I had to join a union in Michigan too.
Yeah. Oh, I was talking to the guy.
The UFCW.
Well, he says, well, you're doing the overnight shift, so you get an extra $1 an hour. So that's good. And I was like, yep. He goes, so, whatever minimum wage is plus $1. I was like, hold on, minimum wage plus $1? He goes, well, yeah, $1 over minimum. He goes, $1, you get an extra $1.
How much is your union dues?
I was like, so hold on. I was like, you have all these kids paying union dues and they're still getting minimum wage?
Well, the person that hired you was management. He doesn't pay union dues.
I know. That's why I said, you have all these kids sign up for this job and they're paying union dues and they're not getting paid anything more. And he says, well, it's mostly for you get some benefits. He mentioned health insurance and dental. Like, I get better through the government.
Yeah.
With my TRICARE from the military. He goes, well, and they're really good at keeping a job. I was like, so I can't get fired for screwing up. I was like, that's what I'm paying. That's what I'm gonna have to pay union dues for. He's like, you can't fire me for screwing up or not showing up.
You can get fired, but it's a lot harder. So
I had to stock a shelf overnight. Why am I paying any union dues? I don't give. The guy even said, I can put in earbuds and listen to my podcast online. Just stock the shelf.
Is the store open overnight or is it closed?
No.
Oh, that's so awesome that it's closed. That's fantastic. Yeah.
They're only closed for like 3 hours though. I have to do an 8-hour shift.
Yeah, well, you'd be surprised how much more you'll get done when the store is actually closed.
Oh, I know. I hate working in retail too. That's actually part of the reason why I said overnight. The extra $1 an hour is a giant bonus, but
yeah,
it just pissed me off. I was like, they're completely taking advantage of people.
What's the minimum wage in Massachusetts?
I want to say $13.25, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Oh, wow, this thing is listening to us, dude. I typed in MA. MI, and it typed in Massachusetts minimum wage 2021. And it brought me to a petition. $13.50.
Okay. So you've been making $14.50, which, is not a ton. And, cost of living in Massachusetts is also high too. So
if I didn't have other means of income and ways of getting food,
right,
I would not be able to survive on that. That's absolutely true.
Yeah. But you got some other money coming in from your wife and,
pension there.
Yeah.
We got a couple ways to bring a couple of dollars in. I don't know what I'm allowed to say out loud here. Well, some stuff's legal in Massachusetts, but not the United States,
Well, it's coming to Virginia, 2024.
Yeah, and we will get to that. That's going actually right into what we were talking about with we put the Joy Behar thing.
I seen it on here someplace.
No, we didn't. Never mind. We started talking about Cuomo, weren't we?
Yeah, we were on Cuomo.
We got way off track.
Yeah, it happens. That's the show.
I know. Where the hell are we anyway?
I would say we are on Biden and Hillary support independent investigation.
Oh, on Cuomo.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're calling for an investigation on his sexual harassment things, and I mean, he got Me Too'd by his own party. I mean, he's going down like Al Franken.
That tells you something right there.
Yeah, almost. Again, let's put my conspiracy hat again. Almost seems like a whole bunch of women accused him all at the same time to draw attention away from how many people died of COVID because of his decisions.
Well, a lot of times when something like this is going on, a lot of people are ashamed of what happened and they don't want to come out. But once that first person comes out,
Very true.
and is willing to, speak up about it, it starts a ball rolling, and more people feel confident to come out and say something too.
Very true. I'm not disagreeing, and I'm not going to discourage anyone who feels sexually assaulted from saying something. But I'm going to say at the same time, once enough people come forward, then people start wondering, was this the same thing when it happened with me? And often it wasn't. You know what I mean?
Right. Uh-huh.
I'm just saying this. It's a double-edged sword. Because how many people started coming out all of a sudden for Kavanaugh?
Yeah.
One of them recanted, and the other one still had no corroboration.
Yeah.
Well, and look all the good Kavanaugh did for Trump, huh?
Not much. But I think in the end, in the long run, it'll help maintain the Constitution. It may not have helped Trump and his point of views, but with a 6-3 split, it's not going to make it easy for the Democrats to destroy the Constitution right away. They got their work cut out for them.
Destroy the Constitution. All right. You notice there's no flu?
No, there's no flu at all. Craziness. I mean, they're not even advertising the flu shot around here. You should get the flu shot, It's all about getting the vaccine for COVID-19.
Now, this is a week behind because I'm actually having issues finding current reports. Not this past week, but the week before. There were 17 cases nationwide of the flu. 17.
That's ridiculous.
Now, in case you're wondering, what's normal? The year before that was 15,368.
Yeah.
Now, if you're saying coronas is that much more contagious and the measures we're putting in place for corona is protecting against influenza, then how come Texas isn't overrun? Texas, Mississippi, Florida, South Dakota aren't overrun with flu?
Exactly.
They should still have the same numbers, right?
Yeah. Because South Dakota never locked down. They never had a mask mandate. They didn't destroy their internal economy in the state, unlike every other state in the nation.
Exactly. And don't get me wrong, South Dakota is a little less.
Oh, it's way less populated.
Less densely populated than other areas. But you say New York, for example. That's what a lot of people use as an example. Is New York? Not all of New York is New York City.
No.
There's a lot of dairy farmland in New York.
I went to school in Rochester, New York, in the Navy.
Did you really?
Yeah, in the winter.
Isn't Rochester a crappy city?
It wasn't bad.
They've been riding a lot.
Got their start. But it was the winter time up on the lakes. It was a lot of snow, a lot of cold.
You're from Michigan. You knew the cold.
Yeah, but it's different.
It's funny. The wife said, I don't remember what it was. Said something to me about understanding cold. And she said something about the Midwest. I was like, you don't think the Midwest knows cold and snow? She's like, what? I was like, yeah, okay. We might wake up in the morning with an extra 1.5 feet of snow. Like, that's a normal thing in the Midwest.
Yeah.
I was like, and sometimes you wake up with an extra 6 feet of snow.
How's she adapting up there? She's from Florida.
Doing pretty good, actually.
That's good.
For the most part, I'm the one getting up at 4 a.m. to go snow blow.
Okay.
I like to keep up on it versus trying to do it all at once.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you keep knocking it down a little bit at a time, you know.
And
So the
the
next
snow
thing on our
globe is still
list,
new.
yeah, is the Johnson & Johnson vaccine that I put up there.
Yeah. I don't know what to think of that.
Well, I mean, it was the Catholic Church. Certain bishops came out and said that the vaccine was designed by cell strains, not of actual aborted fetuses, but of that cell strain line.
What do you mean?
It's not an actual aborted fetus that was used, but it's like a descendant of the aborted fetus that was used in order to create the vaccine.
Yeah, see, this is where I'm never sure where I agree with the Catholic Church. As much as I don't like abortion, why should we let any research that could happen go to waste? You know what I mean? When I first read that, I thought it said that it actually had an aborted fetus tissue in it.
No. Basically it's a cousin of an aborted tissue in it.
All right.
When you think of it like in the relative terms, it's a descendant of an aborted tissue.
Well, you took that, and then you essentially reproduced it, almost cloned it.
Yes, exactly.
Again, if this abortion already happened, why let information go to waste that we might be able to take medicine from? And you know, you can make the argument that that might encourage abortion. It's already being encouraged. If we can make medicine out of it, I don't know. Like I said, this is where I diverge from Christianity a lot. Is I don't know. I guess Catholicism more than anything else. If it's doing a general good, but that's also how communists think too, isn't it?
Yep. Why don't you play one of your recorded readings now?
Oh, which one we got? Which one we got lined up?
I don't know. You can talk about placement classes are racist or legalize weeds in Virginia.
Yeah, this was all this stuff behind it in the background was just for fun. I was trying out some new stuff. I'm gonna have to adjust the volume, I'm sure. But
well, I got to step away for a second. That's why I wanted you to play.
No, go ahead. I'll lead it up.
All right.
This is about apparently being very good at school is a problem, and we can't have people in advanced placement programs.
Citing racial inequities, Boston Public Schools suspend new advanced learning classes. Megan Woolhouse, February 26, 2021. Selective program for high-performing 4th, 5th, and 6th graders in Boston suspended enrollment due to the pandemic and concerns about equity in the program, GBH News has learned. Superintendent Brenda Casilius recommended the one-year hiatus for the program, known as advanced work classes, saying the district would not proceed with the program for new students next year. There's been a lot of inequities that have been brought to light in the pandemic that we have to address, Casillas told GBH News. There's a lot of work we have to do in the district to be anti-racist and have policies where all of our students have a fair shot at an equitable and excellent education. New students will be admitted in the 4th grade by standards to be determined at the school level, according to a BPS spokesman. There will be no new students admitted in the 5th or 6th grades, the spokesman said, but those already in advanced work will be allowed to continue. A district analysis of the program found more than 70% of students enrolled in the program were white and Asian, even though nearly 80% of all Boston public school students are Hispanic and Black. School committee member Lorna Rivera said in a January meeting that she was disturbed by the findings, noting that nearly 60% of 4th graders in the program at the Orenberger School in West Roxbury are white, even though most 3rd graders enrolled in the school are Black and Hispanic.
Very true.
This is just not acceptable, Rivera said at a recent school committee meeting. I've never heard these statistics before, and I'm very disturbed by them. The program is open to all students in the Boston Public Schools who took a test known as a Terra Nova in the 3rd grade and received a high score. Those students were placed in a lottery conducted at the Central Administration Office and lottery winners received letters inviting them to apply to the program. Last fall, 453 students received invitations, 143 students applied, and 116 enrolled this year, officials said. Students in the program have the opportunity to study subjects in greater depth and are offered more schoolwork than a traditional curriculum requires. Casilla says interest in the program has declined over several years, and only 5 schools currently offer the program. The James F. Condon School in Boston, South Boston, the Jackson M. K through 8 in Alston, the Richard J. Murphy School in Dorchester, the William H. Olrenberger School in West Roxbury, and the Josiah Quincy Elementary School in Chinatown.
But
what I found interesting from that was that it seemed like your path was projected at 3rd grade. How many, just because there's only like 5 schools in Massachusetts, in the Boston area that cover that, how many schools administer that test? And how is it advertised to take the test?
I don't know, but shoot, I didn't write down any of the numbers.
Well, I mean, basically,
almost everyone who applied
got
invited,
right?
And then how many people accepted it was half as much,
right? Well, that's when you got to look at the location of the schools, the busing situation. How do the minority kids get to these schools where they're located?
Okay, there are a lot of white kids in Dorchester.
But one of the schools was in Chinatown.
Yeah, Quincy. My brother used to live in Quincy. There's a Quincy market. Oh my God. You get food. Oh, such weird, crazy food. It's so good. No bats though.
Thank goodness.
But yeah, Dorchester is a rough neighborhood.
Isn't that where the Wahlburgers started out?
The Wahlbergs, yes. Actually, Wahlburgers, the first one is in Dorchester.
Right.
And I haven't been there in a minute. I got to go back. It's good.
I have not eaten a Wahlburgers yet. I know they got one in D.C. now. I just haven't made the trek up there and found it yet.
It's a long drive.
Yeah.
They do adult milkshakes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's booze in your milkshake. That makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you put booze in everything else.
Yeah, I think there's some facts missing from that report that whoever did the report didn't really dig into and dive into to figure out. Maybe that's what their working group's going to try to figure out, is how to more diversify the program.
Well, it seems if it's apply and take a test and then a lottery. The lottery is the big one, is because you never know how lottery works.
Right.
But almost everyone who applied
got an
came up in the lottery because there's not that many more people than positions applied.
That tells me not enough people are applying.
Well, or no, not enough people applying, and possibly if we're going to go this racism route, the program itself's not racist. The people implementing it aren't telling these populations about it.
Yeah. Yeah. The knowledge isn't getting out there.
So don't end the program. Go in there and make sure that these minority communities are known that they can take this route and, get college credit in 7th grade or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe I'm weird in my thoughts.
No, I'm along with you on that. That was very good find, very good read. You went the local route and it added to the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I don't know. It seems like you're taking away advanced learning classes from people because they're white or Asian.
Yeah.
And I understand you're saying it's not proper representation across the community, but if it was right there for you to apply to and you never did, how is that the Korean kid's fault?
Yep.
Just the way I see things. Like, why do we have to bring race into it,
Unfortunately, it seems like race is the first thing that's brought into everything these days.
Well, like I think we brought it up earlier, the legalization of marijuana in Virginia.
Yeah.
How much do you know about this?
Well, I'm in Virginia, so I know quite a bit about it.
Oh, you've been keeping up on it? You keep
Oh,
up on
yeah.
local politics?
Yeah, I mean, I do, as a matter of fact.
That's why we get a Virginia and a Massachusetts point of view.
Yeah. This is something that we're going to be the first state in the South to have legalized marijuana.
Really?
Yes.
No. Okay, like the 24th state, though, right?
Yeah, something like that.
What do you consider the South?
I would say DC down. Well, no, not even DC down, because I would say the Mason-Dixon line on a normal basis.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
That's Maryland, actually.
just
The
covers-
Mason-Dixon line is in Maryland.
Yeah, but that's the East Coast. You can't count Texas, and you can't count Colorado as.
Colorado's not South.
Oh, I know, but if Texas legalized marijuana, you don't call that the South.
I don't know. I read an article that said we're going to be the first state in the South to have legalized marijuana. Did Texas's go into effect already?
Texas didn't. I don't know if they did or not. I'm just saying if they did.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think they did. I mean, and the only way they pulled it off in Virginia this year was that both sides of the Congress are controlled by Democrats, and we have a Democrat governor in place right now. So that's how they managed to push it through. Medical marijuana was already approved, and they've already handed out some license for medical marijuana. Recreational use isn't going to be approved, going to be legal until 2024. No, I got no volume, no sound.
So Governor Blackface is making sure he's out of office before this takes effect.
Oh, long time out of office. Yeah. And they're using the same argument that, hey, we're going to make tons of money off of taxation on marijuana, like all the other states have done.
Massachusetts, at the rate they're taxing, they should be making a lot of money. I don't know what they're actually bringing in. And you know what? I wish I had looked this up now. It's like a 27% tax on marijuana.
Well, I don't know about Massachusetts, but I have a feeling that the drug dealers aren't going anywhere.
No.
The drug dealers aren't getting taxed.
No, exactly. Well, there's always a black market.
And I've always thought that when that was like the big thing about when we legalized marijuana, we're going to get rid of the black market, you know?
See, that was an argument they made, so you knew what you were getting. Yes, you can go to the store, the dispensary, and get it and know exactly what you're getting.
Right.
Or you can go to the guy in the street selling for half the price and not be certain what you're getting, but you've been buying from the same guy for 7 years anyway.
Right,
you know what
exactly. I mean? So you know what you're getting.
You can grow it yourself now.
Guy.
Yeah, like I said, Massachusetts is taxing like 27% or something like that. I'm assuming they're bringing a lot of money because the dispensaries are always full.
Yeah.
And medical cards are tax-free.
Okay.
They're only taxing recreational use.
Well, there's other issues with medical cards.
Oh, yeah. No, dude, if I can get a medical card. It seriously is going to cost me $50.
Yeah.
I have to go see this guy, hand him $50 and say, I have epilepsy. He goes, oh, here's your card.
And then there goes ever chances of ever getting another gun in your life.
True. I'm not sure about that, though. Yeah, I know what you're saying, but like, I'd like to think I'd have an argument in a courtroom. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Why would you legalize it if you're not going to allow me to own a firearm, but you're going to allow me to buy a bottle of whiskey and own a firearm, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, oh, here we go. I got something about this, don't I?
Yeah, you got another reading.
No, the legalized weed thing.
We're going to be the 16th state to legalize marijuana.
Virginia becomes first southern state to vote to legalize recreational
I said that.
marijuana use in 2024 and nod to racial justice.
Did.
John Bacon, USA Today, February 28th, 2021. Virginia stood poised to become the first southern state to legalize marijuana after lawmakers approved a bill aimed in part at ending disparate treatment faced by people of color in criminal justice system. The bill sent to Governor Ralph Northam will permit possession and retail sales of pot effective in 2024. Northam has expressed support for legalization. Last week, New Jersey officials legalized recreational marijuana when Governor Phil Murphy signed into law 3 bills putting into effect a ballot question overwhelmingly supported by voters last year. More than a dozen states and the District of Columbia will allow recreational marijuana use. Last year, Virginia lawmakers ordered a commission to study and make recommendations for how Virginia should legalize and regulate the growth, sale, and possession of marijuana. The commission.
I just want to point out, I genuinely thought the southern states would be the first ones to legalize marijuana.
I don't. I disagree.
Really?
Yes. Because the southern states are traditionally more conservative and there's more Christianity and religious things going on. They're kind of considered like the Bible Belt for the most part.
Again, what do we consider the South?
Well, apparently Virginia, according to that news article.
Well, Virginia's always been considered south of the Mason-Dixon line.
Well, yeah, because the Mason-Dixon line's in Maryland.
We're saying how far west does the South go, you know? But anyway, let's hear the rest of this riveting article.
Riveting read.
And focused on policies to redress historic inequities and racial injustice caused by marijuana criminalization. The study released in November showed that from 2010 to 2019, the average arrest rate of Black people for marijuana possession was 3.5 times higher than the arrest rate for white people. The commission also made specific recommendations for legalization. With
I'd like to say something here. I know this is going to sound racist. Every time I bought a bag of weed, I always went to somewhere super populated. Oh, anything bigger than like an eighth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always went somewhere super populated, so a little bit of transaction wouldn't be noticed.
Right.
If you're getting picked off all the time, it's because you're standing on a street corner with a backpack full of drugs.
Yeah.
Handing them out.
Well, Virginia had already started liberalizing their rules. Apparently, I was talking to somebody a couple of days ago that said the cops can't arrest you for smell anymore in the car.
Actually, I have something in here. Oh, I don't.
They got to actually see it in order to, like, be able to search the car and arrest you for it now.
Yeah, exactly. If you go past a crossing guard and you reek of weed because you're fishbowling the car, hot boxing the car, he's not allowed to pull you over.
Right.
Because it's racist. Well, actually, that's I think that's the rest of this article, actually.
But that's not racist. That could happen to a white person just as much as a black person.
Marijuana is a black drug, and you know it.
No, it's not.
No, I know
ridiculous.
it's not, but that's the argument they're using.
Crack cocaine is the black drug.
Oh my
white
God.
Drug.
You know what's funny is I always hear why do they have this extra charge against crack cocaine? Is that because what black people use? I was like, crystal meth has the same charge attached to it. And
that's the white drug.
If that is not a white drug, I do not know what is. It's always some crazy white bitch with like a baseball bat or a crowbar. You know? No. I'm no supremacist. White folk got their faults too.
Yeah, well,
You know?
yes, they do.
Typically, when they go up the rails real bad too, though.
Yep.
All right, let's try to get through this.
All right.
Through this article.
Sure.
focus on equity. I would say that we're on a path to an equitable law allowing responsible adults to use cannabis, said Senator Adam Evan, the chief sponsor of the Senate bill, after it was passed Saturday. Senator Jennifer McClellan expressed disappointment that her proposed amendment to legalize possession on July 1st failed to make the final bill. The amendment would have ended punishment for people with a small amount of marijuana, but House Democrats argue that legalization without a legal marketplace of marijuana could promote the growth of a black market.
I like that point, actually. But
we already have a black market.
Exactly. There's already a black market because it's illegal. And you know marijuana is being sold in Virginia. Let me put it this way. I bought the punny. I purchased many of marijuana in Virginia. Huh? It's going to be everywhere. It's not going away.
No.
It just seems crazy. I can't believe the federal government's involved with this.
Well, they've kind of backed off. I mean, they're not like enforcing laws in Colorado and places where it's been legalized.
No, in places it's been legalized, but they're still picking up people on the border, bringing it across the border.
Yeah.
And they're putting them away for a very long time. We brought this up last week, I believe. El Chapo's wife.
Was she bringing along weed or coke?
Marijuana, cocaine, heroin, and ecstasy.
I think
I can bring up the Google Doc. We had it in last week's episode.
I think it's more about the cocaine, the heroin, and the ecstasy that they've got her arrested for than anything else.
Probably, but they still hit her with it.
Yeah, of course.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how deep my libertarian ideals go. Well, realistically, libertarians don't believe in borders. That seems stupid to me.
McClellan said she encouraged Northam to add it to the bill he signs to address the disproportionate penalization communities of colors have faced. McClellan said the state has a long way to go to enact marijuana legalization in an equitable way that redresses the harms and prohibitions on Black and brown communities. McClellan also backs an amendment to give formerly incarcerated individuals priority for commercial distribution licenses. The bill we passed today moves the ball forward.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Formerly incarcerated people to get priority for licenses. So you're literally saying you want the drug dealers to get the licenses?
Well, that's what they did in Canada.
I guess that makes sense. They already know how to sell it. Yeah. Way to get it, how to move it, I suppose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not
I just
illegal
don't know
anymore.
how many actual drug dealers would actually apply for a license,
Yeah, that's put your name on a list of come arrest me federal government.
Exactly.
Right? Sorry. As soon as you said that, I was like, oh yeah. That's signing the devil's book, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was unprepared.
Let's be clear. This is not marijuana legalization, McClellan said. It set up a framework to get us on a path to legalization in 2024. Northam spokeswoman Olena Yarmosky said the state has taken...
That name was ridiculous, by the way. Sorry. I read the thing once before I tried to read it out loud.
Right.
I came back to that name. I was like, what the? Yarmosky?
Taking an important step toward legalization, adding that the governor wants to improve the legalization. Still a lot of work ahead, but this bill will help to reinvest in our communities and reduce inequities in our criminal justice system, she said. Under the legislation, possession of up to an ounce of marijuana will become legal the same day sales begin, and regulations will go into effect to control the marijuana marketplace in Virginia. The legalization will require
Very
a
similar
second
to
vote to the General
Massachusetts.
Assembly next year, but only on the regulatory framework and criminal penalties for several offenses, including underage use and public consumption of marijuana. A second vote will not be required on legalization.
That's big. The second vote won't be needed, and it
Right.
does almost seem like they modeled after the
It
Massachusetts.
does really seem like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like how much you were allowed to have
Hmm.
on your person, how much you could grow at a time, how much you could give away, which I thought was interesting because I didn't find anyone else in Massachusetts modeled it after.
How many plants can you have? Can you grow in Massachusetts
At a time or at all?
at a time?
I can have 12 plants at a time.
Per adult?
Pardon?
Per adult in the household?
Yes, up to 12 plants.
Yeah, in Michigan, you can have 12 plants per adult. So you
I can have
grow
12
24.
Yeah, I can have 12 plants. I'm sorry. I can have 12 plants per adult. I can have up to 24 total. And I can only have 6 in harvest at a time.
Okay.
Or in flower at a time per adult.
But if you're growing outdoors, that's kind of doesn't make sense because you only got a short growing time outside.
Actually, depending on what you're doing, typically speaking, marijuana needs a lot of sunlight.
Yeah, well, my nephew grew plants in Michigan last year outside,
Mhm.
and
Typically, you can get harvest in 3 months. Typically speaking.
okay. So
Hey.
basically, okay.
Well, if you're gonna harvest all at once, you could plant your 6 trees. You can have them bloom at once at flower.
Yeah.
Plant your 6 of them, and then wait a week and a half and plant the next 6. So you have 12 at once.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, as you harvest one and get that one ready, the next one's coming in to harvest.
Okay.
You know.
Uh-huh.
And if you're growing indoor, you can do it again and again and again and again.
Yeah, but you're talking about a lot more electricity indoors.
Yes, I like the idea of the sun.
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper.
Man, and realistically, with 12 plants, I can probably get 2 harvests out of this cycle. I can probably get 2 harvests in a summer here
Uh-huh.
and get like over a pound and a half.
Oh, okay.
Like that'll last you through the year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Till the next summer.
Assuming I don't go, I have a pound and a half. You know, and smoke it all. What the hell were we talking about?
Virginia legalizing weed.
Oh, yeah. So apparently Massachusetts has a similar model to Michigan. I don't know which one came first.
Massachusetts.
Oh, maybe. Well, maybe apparently Massachusetts has the model then.
I would say so.
Because I remember back when I was in the Navy, I did an absentee ballot, a mail-in vote.
Well, no, there's in between the mail-in vote and the absentee ballot.
True, I was just making a joke.
The mail-in ballot gets sent out to everybody, whether they request it or not. The absentee ballot is actually somebody that actually requested it.
It's like I am out of town because of X reason.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But yeah, I did an absentee vote on the decriminalization of marijuana in Massachusetts back when I was in the Navy. And that was basically that if you got caught with like a joint, the cop would step on it.
Uh-huh.
And that it would be over. Yeah, just I don't do that, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, if you were driving around, you were in trouble. But if you got pulled over, you had an 1/8 ounce in your car.
Yeah.
But the car didn't smell and you weren't smoking, it'd be like,
no big deal.
Yeah, they like go home and they would take it from you.
Yeah.
But
I still remember
you
the
didn't
story
get a record.
when you were still living in Virginia and you came back from Massachusetts with weed and you just handed it to the cops when you got here. It's like, hey, I accidentally flew in with this weed. It's yours.
I did at the airport, didn't I?
Uh-huh.
I completely forgot about that. I saw him at the checkpoint. I was like, I just flew back from Massachusetts and I found this in my bag. I completely forgot about that. I was like, I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah. What'd they do?
They all looked at me all funny and I was like, I'm leaving now. That was a long time ago, dude.
Oh, yeah. That was years ago. Unfortunately, we've known each other for a few years.
A very long time. Anyone who is listening, this is our quote second season.
We started this years ago, very sporadically.
Yeah, we've been a little bit better about weekly lately, though. The last, wow, geez, what number are we on? 29 weeks in a row.
Yeah. I think we might have missed 1 week in there, here or there, you know, and somebody's got something going on.
But we did an extra week. We did an extra episode.
And we started shifting to like Friday night if we can't do it on Saturday and stuff like that. So
unfortunately, Ray can't be with us tonight.
No, he's not feeling well.
This
means we'll have an added listener this week because he'll listen to the actual show.
True, because I'm sure just like me, you probably don't listen to the show because you were there when it was recorded.
Yeah, I don't.
Neither do I. Like, I was there. I know. He said.
I put the show together. I pump it up on the podcast feed, you know, and it shows up on my iPhone, you know, as a possible listen, you know. But I don't actually listen to it.
I mentioned. Oh yeah, that was the thing I just played. Was the it's racist to not legalize marijuana.
Yeah, because they're saying that's the black drug.
Oh yeah,
and they're saying that more people are incarcerated for that. You know, and that may not be that it's racist. That may be an issue with the police forces.
What do you mean by that?
That the police forces, when they pull over an African American, they are more looking for.
You're making the argument that they're saying actually is that the entire process is racist against a black guy looking for weed.
Yeah,
that's possible. It's entirely possible. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying that typically speaking, it's not people getting pulled over in their cars getting busted for weed.
Right.
Honestly, I don't know how you get busted for weed.
You can, well, if what I heard was true, that you can't get pulled over, you can't get and look for weed if you can smell it in the car anymore. It'd be super difficult to figure it out, you know. And
what?
Exactly. I've heard of people having like backpacks of weed in their car and the backpack's unzipped.
Oh, it reeks.
And then the cops see the backpack unzipped with the bags of weed in it, you know. But those are like drug dealers, you know. They're dealing with pounds of weed at a time, type of deal, you know.
Yes, I guess pounds.
Not the normal person that's got, you know, a quarter of an ounce, you know, that they're moving from place to place.
Oh, no, okay. The person with the quarter ounce is a user.
Yeah,
definitely. But I mean, I'm dealing in quarter pounds at a time right now.
Well.
Just because of cost.
Okay.
When you buy a quarter pound at a time, it costs you a fifth as much per ounce, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, for example, I go through like an ounce in a month. I know it sounds like a lot, and it probably is. But it costs me way less if I buy it by the QP.
Yeah.
All right, where was I going next?
I don't know, but I gotta go to the bathroom.
All right. Don't get me wrong, I don't go to the dispensary very often because it's wicked expensive, and exactly what we were talking about, the black market is cheaper. But anything you don't have to pay taxes is cheaper, right?
Yeah.
You still feel like a criminal walking into this place and buying. Well, yeah. I don't know if you can see how well you can see this.
Yeah.
That's an 1/8 ounce of weed.
Okay.
But depending on where you go, you get these things.
Huh.
Well, what's great about them is you buy a little bit here and there from the legal market.
Yeah.
Get these awesome airtight sealed jars.
Nice.
You can transport the stuff in. I'm not advocating any of that, obviously. But I don't know. It's just I still don't understand why it was illegal in the first place. And you know what? Maybe it was racism that made it illegal in the first place, but that was a long time ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Marijuana is no longer a black drug.
No.
Actually, rich white kids have the best marijuana on the planet.
Yep. So I got on here. Joy Reid is not happy.
And where's that one?
Well,
Oh,
Texas and Mississippi.
yeah, I gotta go find that one. That's only like that. Here we go.
When these things unfold, Joy, it feels like
Is that too
nobody
loud?
cares. That's
No.
when you see all these health professionals just feeling slapped down. It feels like nobody cares, and that's how many Texans, Mississippians, they're all feeling that way tonight.
No, absolutely. I'm sure the doctors are exhausted. And, you know, Jason, there is a term called necropolitics, which is essentially the politics of who gets to live and who gets to die. And these states, what they have in common is that they have structures which say that Black and brown lives matter less. And so all that matters is the Black and brown people get their behinds into the factory and make me my steaks, make me my stuff, get there and do my nails, work, get back to work now and do the things that I, the comfortable, affluent person, need. Isn't that what we're seeing? I mean, that's what it feels like to me. Necropolitics in states like Texas.
Oh, yeah.
They made that word
Games
up.
would be more humane,
yeah.
right? If they made people line up and fight for vaccines, at least then you have a fighting.
That's not in the
chance.
dictionary.
Like, they're just going to starve people. And it's always seemed ironic to me that the party of supposedly family values is basically saying, you kids starve, auntie starves, uncle starves, and my wife and my smart son get to eat and get to live and get the vaccine. That is essentially what's happening here. And here's the problem. It used to just be an issue of harming Black and brown people, but this is harming what's left of the Republican base. Mississippi's a red state. They're killing a lot of their own supporters. Yeah. Texas is a red state, even though it's through suppression. They're killing a lot of their own supporters. So it's not even political. Yeah. It's just nihilism and an absolute lack of empathy for the human impact and the catastrophe that so many Americans are living through right now.
Sorry that. Yes, I do use a lot of sound clips from other things. However, we are protected under the Fair Use Act of media in terms of copyright infringement, as long as we discuss what's going on and use it in educational purpose.
Right.
Just want to bring this up just in case, you know, someone related to or someone I know listens to the show and wants to piss me off by trying to sue me over something stupid.
Well, won't they be disappointed when they try to sue us?
Because there's nothing to take.
Yeah.
All right. Wait.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy, you know, that, I mean, and that's the difference between the left and the right, you know, it's just like, it doesn't make, I mean, that's what I loved about President Trump, that he did not make a nationwide mask mandate. He left it up to states to decide how to best handle the issues in their states, as per the Constitution, when you get right down to it. And every state has its own issues and its own situations to deal with. Like South Dakota never put a mask mandate in place. They never locked down. It's not a big, densely populated state. So that's that, you know. And everybody freaked out when the governor of Texas came out and said, hey, I'm done with this. The numbers are going down. We're opening up 100%. No more mask mandate. I mean, he said it was up to businesses to decide if they wanted to keep the mask mandate in place. And that's fine. You know, it should be, all that stuff should be delegated down to the lowest level possible.
Isn't that Neanderthal thinking?
Well, that's an interesting statement since the governor of Texas is actually in a wheelchair.
The hell does that have to do with Neanderthals?
Well, he can't walk, so he's in a wheelchair.
Neanderthals could walk.
Well, I mean, just because the president doesn't agree with what the state doesn't make it right, you know.
Well, Biden said it was Neanderthal thinking.
I know.
And
I don't even know what that really means.
Well, how's this? I'm offended. I am as Neanderthal as Elizabeth Warren is American Indian.
Exactly.
I'm not kidding you. Get yourself a test done and give the Chinese government your DNA. And you'll find out you're more Neanderthal than Elizabeth Warren is American, Native American. No, everyone is. Everyone is.
Well, I think Florida proved it from the get-go. You know, they were the first state to open everything back up and get rid of the mask mandate. And their numbers didn't like skyrocket when they did that.
No, they moved when everyone else has moved.
You know, and, you know, they have a higher per capita number of retirees in their state. So if there's going to be an issue in any state, I would think that would be the state, because they got the snowbirds down there. They got other people that just live down there year round that are retirees. You know, their age of population overall is higher than every other state in the union.
So you would expect more deaths.
Yes.
But you didn't see them.
No.
Interesting, huh? Let's put that conspiracy hat back on. No one got the flu this year.
No.
No one.
Yeah.
No one died of heart disease. The number one killer in the world.
Yeah. Well, people did die of that, you know, but everything's being,
Did they have
anybody that
COVID
dies
when they
this
died?
year is being attributed to COVID-19.
And yes, okay. There are numbers attributed to heart disease, but look at them. This year's numbers for heart disease versus, or 2020 versus 2018.
Uh-huh.
It's a fraction.
Okay.
And it's crazy that, I don't know, man.
Well, I went to see my neurologist a couple of days ago.
You have a neurologist?
For sleep apnea.
You know what's funny is I know I have apnea, but I have not spoken to my neurologist about it.
Well,
and I have a neurologist. I'm sorry.
If you can
Continue.
prove you had that before when you got out of the Navy, that's 50% disability.
If I fill out my paperwork, I get a 93% anyway because they took a piece of my brain out of my head.
Would you just go ahead and do the damn shit?
Actually, I got a local guy in my local town government helping me.
Good.
And
you
I'm doing this
deserve
the lowest
everything you
level.
can get from the VA.
Hey, I'm gonna get kicked in the balls again.
But yeah, and it was funny because I went in there wearing my mask, you know, and this is just a real short appointment to get my prescriptions and get more supplies for my CPAP machine. And the conversation of the vaccine came up. And he's like, did you get your vaccine yet? I was like, no. Did you put your name on the list yet? No. It's like, well, you need to. You need to put your name on the vaccine because that's the only way we're going to beat this thing and get back to no mask wearing and stuff like that. And it was a one-sided conversation because I did not want to get into it with him.
Well, I'm prepared to fight this virus naturally.
Yeah, me too, because I'm not getting the vaccine.
Not even that, but I think
And
the chances of me
I'm O negative, and every article I've been reading says
You have O negative?
I'm O negative, yes.
That's
And
tough to get a blood
said-
transfusion.
They said that everybody that's O-type blood type is less likely to get COVID-19 over like other blood types.
Interesting. I'm AB negative.
You're screwed.
Oh, I am the universal recipient for blood transfusions.
And A-type blood types are more likely to get COVID-19 than O negative.
I don't get sick anymore.
You never leave the house.
No. In many years. I've had an immune issue my whole life.
Right.
And I have issues fighting up a lot of stuff. But let me rephrase that. I can't get medication to kill a lot of stuff. I'm allergic to almost every antibiotic. I fought all this stuff off naturally.
Uh-huh.
So I'm immune to it now because I've killed it, assuming it was a biological agent. Virus is a little different, but I got a pretty strong immune system, you know,
Yeah.
because I can't rely on medication.
No, I know that you're allergic to penicillin, so.
Not just penicillin, like any antibiotic.
Oh, you're screwed.
Neosporin gives me a rash.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe I'll be able to survive when everyone else dies. I'll just get a rash, you know?
It'd be like the cockroach, you know.
So, okay, what's up with this Dr. Seuss crap?
Oh, it's freaking ridiculous. I mean, and everybody's making a big deal about how it's cancel culture, but it was actually the Dr. Seuss Corporation that decided to ban these 6 books. And people got to realize that these books were written in the 20s and the 30s. It was a totally different America when these books were written.
So so these guys decided to stop printing them.
The people, the corporation or the entity that controls the books, the estate, yes, decided to stop publishing these 6 books.
And not because they got a hard time.
Well, I mean, they probably got a little bit, but Biden didn't come out and, I mean, Dr. Seuss Day was created years ago for a day of reading, and everybody in the country read a Dr. Seuss book in the schools.
Yes.
It was a big deal. People dressed up as, you know, with a big hat, and, you know, they showed up. We did it in the Navy, too.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I mean, the Navy would have kids come onto the ship, and you'd wear the Dr. Seuss hat, you know, and read to the
You mean
people.
the Cat in the Hat hat?
Yeah, the Cat in the Hat. Yeah. You know, I participated in it.
Well, I don't think
But
you're
they're
allowed
saying that a lot of his books, because they're written in the time frame they're written in, there was very few African Americans and Asians, and every time they were in the books, they were portrayed poorly.
Okay. I can't think of a single depiction of an African American, let alone a black person. Now I can think of if I ran the zoo, was really it looked really racist in terms of the Asian people, the big mustaches and the pointy hats.
Uh-huh.
But you can't judge history through a modern lens.
Well, that's what they're trying to do. And another thing that I think's been created by them banning these 6 books, the estate. What do you think the value of those books are going to happen on the collector's market now?
Some of them were selling for $10,000 recently on eBay before eBay stopped selling, allowing transactions.
Exactly. So the value of those books have skyrocketed now.
I got a couple of them little, you know, the little house things he would put in front of the house. It looks like a little house on a stick, but it's full of books. For the neighborhood, you know.
Yeah.
I'm being really tempted to go look around the neighborhood things for Dr. Seuss books now.
Not gonna find them.
I don't know. I found a bunch of Dr. Seuss at that local elementary school. There might be one of these ones that's been banned. It's worth $10,000.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I took it out because it's racist and it shouldn't be here. Made $10,000.
I gotta pause.
Okay. Figured I'd take a chance to take a leak myself and
yeah, sure.
Go get my big jar to fill up my little jars in my pipe.
Nice.
All right.
Where we want to go next?
Oh, where are we going next? Oh, all right, we're moving. We did Dr. Seuss, I guess. You hear apparently the blackouts in Texas because of the cold or because of race?
Nah, I haven't heard that.
I hadn't either, but The Hill. I don't know. I don't know what I think of the Hill. Typically, they're a left-wing news source, obviously, because they're blaming race for it being cold. But just another example of like, what the hell arguments are we trying to make? You know what I mean?
But God, I got to get through all the ads.
Yeah, I know that.
The Daily Wire is just as bad. So.
Oh, the Daily Wire is. Yeah, I know you're right. Just as bad. They drive me nuts with the, and half of them are their own commercials.
That's the worst.
Oh, come check out Run Fight Hide or whatever it is, Run Hide Fight. Gina Carano is coming to the Daily Wire. We're making a movie with Gina Carano, but we're not going to tell you what it's about. Jeez Louise. Sorry. Ben Shapiro pisses me off. He almost always makes a really good, almost airtight argument, and I can't argue against it, but I don't like half what he says.
Okay.
He doesn't give me any way to argue against him, but he's... I don't know how to say this without sounding anti-Semitic.
Right.
You don't hear a single word I say, do you?
Yeah, I heard it.
All right. I don't have it here. Oh well, not a big deal. But yeah, apparently, yeah, exactly. That article's a pain in the ass. Let's not even deal with that one. I think the first time I went through it wasn't that big a deal. It's like 5 commercials before you can get to the actual content.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well, that's how we do it for free.
Well, I know a couple of the companies in Texas, at least one of them, had filed for bankruptcy because of the cost of
energy.
Yeah.
That's... I know it sounds weird to say. Like I said, that's why I can call myself Little L Libertarian. Seems crazy that you're gonna have to shut down your business because the cost of power got to be too much. But
yeah,
Texas were the big ones that made a big deal saying they don't want to be part of the quote grid, right?
Yeah. Well, they have deregulation there, so you can buy power from multiple different sources. When I lived in Northern Virginia, when I was stationed at Pentagon, I had that same deal, and I was buying power from a different company other than the main Virginia power company. But, it's got its pluses and its minuses, in the long run. You have to read the fine print when you sign up for things like that,
Well, when
you getting a great deal 364 days out of the year, but then if they quadruple the rate on that last day of the year, you're screwed.
Like a balloon payment.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, yeah, I'm sure you remember. But when I lived within like 2 miles of you,
yeah,
we actually had a giant propane tank that we bought, and we hooked up to the house because we ran on natural gas for heat. And we hooked up a propane tank, and for a couple of years we switched back and forth between propane and natural gas.
Nice.
We'd have a truck deal with propane when propane cost less.
Yeah.
And I like that because same things. I got to choose where I got my power from. Like these guys cost me less money, So I'm gonna heat the house. All I do is turn the valve.
Right. That's nice.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was expensive to do though. Like I think we spent like $500 or something
to get the valve put in and be able to
to buy the tank.
Oh, okay.
We had to get a big giant propane tank to stand up next to the house. It was like 6 feet tall, like 4 feet across.
Yeah. So the Navy's in the process of rooting out all the supremacists, white supremacists.
You think there are that many?
No, I really don't.
I don't know, man. The Navy apparently seems to be making a big deal about this.
Yeah, But I don't think there's really that many white supremacists in the actual Navy. You know, I was there for 20 years. You were there for several years too. You know.
Oh, I think what their issue is they're looking at how many white people there are in the Navy and saying this isn't an accurate representation of the population.
Well, that's a different issue.
Well, let me go ahead and sound racist, but go ask your 5 closest black friends if they want to go swimming. I know. And you know it's funny because you have a whole bunch of black friends. You got black family.
Yeah.
And you just like, no, they're not getting in the water unless they have to, right?
Actually, my black family knows how to swim, you know, but still, I know what you're saying, yeah. And that's what boot camp teaches black people is, you know, you have to learn how to swim to get into the Navy, you know. It may be a crappy version of swimming, but you got to know how to swim a little bit.
I thought I was going to drown in boot camp, actually. We were doing the drill at the end there, the whole Buttercup challenge.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
What?
Well, I mean, you don't have dungarees anymore, so how are you going to float without the dungarees?
Okay, first of all, I didn't have dungarees. But your utility pants... Your utility pants would still make a flotation device, and I wore coveralls anyway because I was engineering.
I loved the Buttercup Challenge. I always had fun doing that.
I always froze my ass off, but I always had the middle of the winter to do it.
Well,
for anyone who is listening,
I did my Buttercup in Norfolk, Virginia.
Oh, I did mine in Illinois in February.
Yeah, because Buttercup wasn't a thing when I went to boot camp in Orlando.
Oh, okay. Orlando didn't exist when I went to boot camp.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was in Illinois, January or February, doing battle stations.
Great time to be in Chicago.
Oh my God, it was so cold. That lake effect. Oh my God. Anyway, we were talking about something. Oh, Navy's ferreting out the white supremacists.
Yeah. Gonna get them all out.
I didn't see white supremacy. Doesn't mean it's not there. I honestly didn't see it.
I think the Navy's different from the other branches of the service because we're in such close quarters on ships.
You knew your shipmates.
Yeah.
Well, except for on the carrier. I didn't know everyone on the carrier.
No, you don't know everybody on the carrier, but you know, even the people you're around, you know, whether they're black, white, Asian, it doesn't matter, you know. You build a bond up with them, and if you don't build that bond and you can trust them, then you're not going to survive in the Navy.
Exactly. Well, you're trusting them with your life, and it's like, they're not firing the guns, they're not doing whatever. It's like, no, they're making sure the weapon system works. They're making sure that we can float if this happens. They're, you know,
right.
Even if it's just they're making sure you're fed so you can get back to fighting. It's like, I got a feeling people are worried about stuff that's not really there because I don't think that, well, because they've never experienced it. It's like, you don't understand when survival comes down to it, all that shit goes out the window.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, just like the idea of there's no atheists in a foxhole, you know?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I misinterpreted what I saw when I was there, but I'm trying not to let my white privilege get in the way. I think I've mentioned on this show before. I got arrested in Virginia. Well, no, that's not true at all. Different story altogether. I got kicked out of a bar in Virginia for being white once. Yeah, it's Club Paradise 2. I believe it's on Jefferson Avenue.
It's not there anymore.
No, it's gone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a very special club, too.
Yeah.
No, it's gone now.
All right, I got a funny YouTube thing. I don't know if we want to listen to it. It's like 3 or 4 minutes long, but
Play it. I go to the bathroom.
all right. This is about how the quote woke people today are the same as the racist people.
Oh boy.
I'll give the guy his name a shout out. We have to talk about this thing though after, so we don't get in trouble. I think it's Ryan Long. I'll make sure.
What is your video?
Oh, it's a commercial. Of course, it's a commercial.
You're on YouTube.
When I first met, I didn't think we'd get along, but turns out we kind of agree on everything. Your racial identity is the most important thing. Everything should be looked at through the lens of race.
Jinx, you owe me a Coke. We both have a lot of opinions about people of color, even though we barely know any.
I say colored people, but as long as we're classifying them, we both think minorities are a united group who think the same and act the same.
And vote the same. You don't want to lose your black card. Sorry, I don't know. I just think we should
Roll back discrimination laws so we can hire based on race again. Jinx, now you owe me a Coke. Hey, tell them what you told me yesterday.
White actors should only do voices for white cartoon characters.
I've been saying that for years. Stick to your own.
Us white people, we have so much privilege.
I agree. It is a privilege to be white. Ask him about interracial dating.
All I said is that black men who date white women have internalized racism, and white men that date ethnic women are fetishizing them.
Guys against interracial dating now. Like, am I being pranked? Did Boomer put you up to this?
Ugh, you know that taco place is white owned?
White people should be making white foods, like cracked macaroni and cheese, no seasoning, not even salt. It's like he's a mind reader. I mean, I've been pushing for segregation forever, and my man does what?
I created an improv comedy show exclusively for ethnic people.
Guy segregates comedy on my birthday.
White people need to stop wearing dreadlocks and they need to stop appropriating black people's music.
Shaved heads and country music, the way God intended.
You know all white people are racist.
I'm listening.
Even if you have a black wife or a black friend group, you're still really racist.
You know, we just kicked the guy out of the organization for having a black girlfriend, but if you can promise me he's still really racist, we'll consider letting him back in. Black people should only shop at black businesses.
I guess the only thing we really disagree about is I think white people are the root of all evil.
But what did I tell you, though? If we can narrow that down to a certain group of tiny-hatted white people, I think we can come to an understanding.
Technically, I don't consider Jewish people white.
Neither do I.
Yeah, it's Ryan Long. I don't know where he went. I hear him coming back. But it's funny how he's making the comparison of oh shit. I think it's funny how he's making the comparison how these white supremacists are the same as the woke people, you know?
Yeah.
I love that how you just picked up your headphones and said, yeah.
Because I didn't have them plugged in.
Oh, okay.
Through the speaker while I was out of the room.
Well, yeah, he pointed out it's like they're making the same arguments, and now how Jewish people aren't white, you know, the white supremacist to the woke person, you know.
Yeah.
That's old, actually. That's many months old. I watched that a very long time ago, and I got a good laugh out of it. He was actually on a Tim Pool live stream recently. I'm gonna stop listening to those. Yeah, I'm gonna stop listening to Tim Pool's live stream. I like his news thing and his opinion thing. His live stream is getting to be annoying. Just in general, just I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know, what was that? 4 or 5 things we brought up. That's actually I didn't even bring up the Boston thing that I brought up a week ago. The young lady with the very, very African name, Owatu or whatever. At Smith College in Boston.
Yeah.
I was gonna do the read it thing and like record it, and this thing was like 19 pages long. New York Times.
That would take forever.
Yeah, I was like, "Are you effing kidding me?" But basically, I brought it up last week. She was someone she wasn't supposed to be. Someone asked her a question. She got all butthurt and accused like an armed Gestapo of showing up to kill her because she was black, and it's because she was someone she wasn't supposed to be, and a security guard with no weapon at all showed up to ask her a question. Like
Yeah.
literally every point she made was proven to be false. But people lost their jobs over this. You know, people got suspended over this. I don't know. It just seems like we're bringing a lot of things down to race, and we're assessing things on race.
Right.
And that's the idea of anti-racism these days. It's not being against racism. It's supposed to counteract racism. And that's the idea, is like this is going to sound like a jerk thing to say, but like affirmative action. Give them a job because they're black. And I know that's not what affirmative action is, but that's what it turned into a lot of the time, so people didn't get in trouble, right?
Or more people got into college, whether they deserve to or not, you know, because of affirmative action.
Because you would get in trouble if you didn't do it.
Right.
Now, it doesn't mean that these people weren't qualified, but
no.
It puts a question in everyone's mind now.
Yeah.
You know, everyone say it doesn't matter until you're on the surgeon's table going, did you go to school? You know what I mean? I don't know. I know I'm going to sound racist, but that's not where I'm going with it. It's just the idea that you're putting in there, give these people an advantage because they've been disadvantaged, makes it sound like that someone trying to not get into trouble is going to askew in that direction to not get in trouble. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Yep.
I don't know. What the hell are we talking about?
Racism.
Yeah.
Policies.
Well, there you go. That's exactly where I was going with this. Is these woke policies are like setting your home thermostat to 90, thinking it's going to get you to 70 degrees quicker.
That's not going to work.
No, you're going to get the same temperature just as quick, but then you're going to get way too hot.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess I'll take off my white pointy hat.
Okay.
My racist argument. Do you want to talk about HR1, or do we just not? Is that not even worth addressing? Is it not going
I think we should
anywhere?
address it. You know, everybody's making a big deal about it in the media. So everybody's so excited about how the federal government's going to take over election reform nationwide. This is going to show up. This is going to go all the way to the Supreme Court.
Think so?
Because states' rights. Well, I mean, if it becomes law, which I think it doesn't really become law, I don't know that the Senate will have the majority enough to pass it, even with Kamala Harris voting for it. It's just too crazy what they want to do.
Doesn't Article 4 specifically outline how voting works? I think it's Article 4.
Okay.
It might be Article 1, Section 4. I feel like a jackass. I should have looked this up.
Well, this is a big Nancy Pelosi thing. She's wanted to make changes to this forever. She feels like this is one of her legacy issues. So.
Yeah, but you can't just change the way voting happens. This is a constitutional issue. Like, it's specifically outlined.
Yeah, it is.
And she wants to pass sweeping nationwide legislation.
Yes. That prohibits ID requirements, no witness signatures for absentee voters, must accept mail-in ballots 10 days after the election day, allows for 16 years old to register to vote, and the districts are going to be redrawn by unelected bureaucrats. The key word there, bureaucrats. They're still involved in the government. Unelected, doesn't matter. They're still bureaucrats.
That means appointed.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're doing in Virginia now. We just changed our constitution, which I voted against, to allow a committee of appointed people to draw the congressional districts.
Yeah, that's a little That's a little concerning with the gerrymandering.
Well, they're saying it's going to get away from gerrymandering.
I
don't agree.
Yeah. And they're going to make it more difficult to clean up the voter roll, which is, well, according to HR1 anyway.
That should be done between every election cycle.
Yeah, and
I mean, I've heard one of the co-hosts on the Rush Limbaugh show lives in North Carolina now. He moved from California a few years ago, and he actually got an absentee ballot mailed to him from California to North Carolina to vote in the last election.
Yeah.
He notified California that his car was no longer registered in California. He no longer lived there. But due to their mail-in voting rules, they sent out ballots to everybody, no matter what state they were in.
Really? That's
Which just, how many people were honest enough not to mail their ballot back and vote? So they could have voted in 2 different states, and nobody would know.
Well, what I'm worried about is when you make it so you don't need ID, you don't need a witness for a signature, and you can mail your vote in. I'm worried about someone walking into a retirement home and stealing 600 votes.
Yeah. Well, Georgia just passed the law that, they went back and, restricted. You got to have a vote. You got to have the ID, whether you're requesting an absentee ballot or not. They got real strict on their laws to make it difficult for voter fraud for mail-in voting, which I think needs to be the case across the board. But that'll never be part of HR1 because that's not the Democrat way.
Yeah. We're even talking about making DC a state.
Oh boy.
Isn't the whole point DC not being a state so that there's no conflict of governments?
Yes.
And if you want to make DC a state, I'm pretty sure it's a thing in the Constitution saying something about cutting off pieces of states with federal authority and making another state.
Yeah. Well, they want to make DC a state and Puerto Rico a state, and maybe even Guam a state.
Okay, well, first of all, DC,
all those 3 places will vote heavily Democrat.
Well, DC was a part of Maryland
And Virginia.
Well, they cut off willingly to say we're willing to put this aside as not a state for the purpose of the way the government works. And Puerto Rico has been continuously offered statehood.
Now they're actually voting for it.
Yeah, well, exactly. They have to vote for it, and they've been continuously offered statehood. The last one I think was like 3 or 4 years ago. It seems like they're trying to get this propaganda machine going and make people vote out of hysteria.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, your audio changed a lot. Wow, that's nuts.
I won't be on this audio for long.
Uh-huh.
Gotta go.
Well, I paused my end anyway.
I didn't pause mine, so that'll be great for the podcast.
No, you can cut those out. It's just a ton of work.
I'm not doing it. That's too much work.
I know, man. I've done it a couple times. It's like, oh my God, that's a lot of work.
That's one thing I like about the No Agenda show. They never cut anything out. It's basically live to tape, which nobody really uses tape anymore, but it's the concept.
The tape is ancient.
All right, where do you want to go next?
Well, I just want to bring up this. The first thing he said about it was prohibits ID requirements.
Yeah.
That drives me
Craziness.
nuts. You require ID for me to drive.
Why?
You require ID for me to buy beer.
Cash a check.
Yeah.
But not vote.
And actually, you know, I keep hearing this is supposed to be expanded. It's your right. It's your right. There's no one to step in the way of this, and you have every right to do it. But you're passing every law you can, taking away my right to own a gun.
Yep.
Again, where are the Republicans making this argument? They're not doing it, dude.
They're out there, but they're few and far between.
Are they? Where? You got Steven Crowder. Nah, he's not gonna go too far. You should be making me jump through a million hoops to buy a gun. But to vote, I don't even have to prove I'm a citizen.
Right.
You know?
How do you prove that?
Birth certificate's good enough for me. Social security number? It's good enough for me.
Virginia, you can use an utility bill.
To prove citizenship?
They changed the laws. In order to vote, you just got to show up with a utility bill now.
Oh. To vote in Massachusetts, I registered to vote.
Uh-huh.
And then I wrote down my name and an address. And then when I voted, I showed up. And I said, this is my name and I live at this address.
Right.
And they gave me a ballot to vote.
Uh-huh.
I never had to prove that was me, nor did I have to prove that I lived at that address.
Gotta love Virginia.
This is Massachusetts.
All right, you gotta love Massachusetts.
By the way, this is Women's History Month, you know.
Yep. We are no longer in Black History Month. We are now moving to Women's History Month.
I was actually prepared to do a whole piece about this.
Maybe next week.
Well, no, it would be racist to do it about women's history because we didn't do Black history.
Okay.
So we can't. So next year, we can't do any of this because we missed Black History Month.
Oh, damn it.
We're going to have to remember to forget this every year. Why don't you tell me about...
I don't know.
What?
I think are we still on HR 1?
If you got more to talk about, I was getting ready to move on to Potato Head.
Let's move on to Potato Head because I'm done with HR 1.
All right. Tell me about Mr. Potato Head.
Well, there's been multiple changes in Mr. Potato Head in the last few weeks. First of all, they said he was going to go transgender and be just Potato Head. But now Hasbro's come back out and said that they're not getting rid of Mr. Potato Head, but they're renaming the line of potato heads to Potato Head. Apparently, there's a whole line of merchandise that deals with the potato heads.
Okay. The interchangeable part thing.
No, even more than that.
You are fake news.
Exactly.
I knew that was going to come in handy.
It's probably going to be our most used sound clip ever.
I hope so.
So, I mean, Hasbro backed off on Mr. Potato Head, but now they're saying they're just going to call the Potato Head line the Potato Head. I don't even know what that means. I don't know if I really care that much, but, I mean, it's just ridiculous. I don't know if I got the energy to put into the Potato Head line to begin with.
Yeah, honestly, I understand the argument people are making, but I don't care enough about Mr. Potato Head. But apparently they're not doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Was that just a giant publicity stunt to get the Mr. Potato Head name in the news again?
I think so.
Oh, he's raiding the fridge.
I need another beer.
Well, you know what? Honestly, it's probably done well for him. I bet they made a ton of money off this.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I agree.
Tell me about the CPAC here. Well, do we give a crap about Rand Paul talking to Dr. Levine about gender medication for youth? No. Okay, that's what I thought. I have a sound bit for that, but
play it. Fine, play it.
No, it's not entertaining at all.
Okay, don't play it. I mean, we've been going for over 2.5 hours, so.
True, but we've been drinking and peeing a lot.
There's been no drinking involved. No peeing involved. That's our main theme of the show.
Very true. Yeah, see, a whole bunch of crap happened in CPAC. I wasn't impressed in general.
No, I understand, because CPAC's a very unique political organization that really got going like 10, 15 years ago when Rush Limbaugh showed up to give a speech there.
It was like a Conservative Party Advancement Committee or something like that?
Something like that. But Trump showed up to give a keynote speech there.
He did.
And as expected, do you have a recording?
I do.
Play it.
Which one? The blowing up the third party idea?
Uh-huh.
We'll do what we've done right from the beginning, which is to win.
You hear that?
Yeah.
We're not starting new parties. They kept saying, he's going to start a brand new party.
I said it.
We have the Republican
You did.
Party.
You wanted him to.
Unite and be stronger than ever before. I am not starting a new party.
And I said
It
no.
was fake news.
It's fake news.
He's never given up that line, ever.
I'm sorry.
Play it.
Wouldn't that be brilliant? Let's start a new party and let's divide our vote so that you can never win. No, we're not interested in that.
So the Republicans hate libertarians.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he goes, yeah, let's make a third party. Let's divide our vote, right? Like a Republican yelling at a libertarian, right?
Uh-huh.
The Democrats don't have grandstanders like Mitt Romney, Little Ben Sass, Richard Burr, Bill Cassidy, Susan Collins,
That's weird. Wow.
Lisa Murkowski, Pat Toomey. And in the House, Tom Rice.
That's wicked echoey. That sucked.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We got the general gist of it.
But he called out
Yeah.
by name.
The people that voted against him in the last impeachment. Those are exactly the people that he called out and said that he was going to put up primary candidates against them in the next election that they're up for.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess it's a fair argument.
I mean, he is pro-Republican, but not necessarily pro-establishment Republican or incumbent Republican.
I still think if Trump started a third party, you bring enough quote Republicans. Yeah, I know everyone thinks everyone that voted Trump was a Republican, but they weren't.
No, they weren't.
I think you bring in enough people from the Republican Party plus people that had never voted before. That's what his big deal was, right? Was first-time voters.
Uh-huh.
In their 30s and 40s. I think he could have brought enough people over and enough Democrats with them to actually make a viable third party like the Republican Party did from the Whigs.
Right.
I think this is a mistake. I think he could have.
I don't think it's a mistake. This is where we disagree, being Republican / quote unquote libertarian. you know, Trump knows that he has more power staying in the Republican Party.
Trump is the power. The Republican Party is just the conduit. He can make his own conduit.
I guarantee. I'm almost willing to bet that
if Trump made a third party, would you follow him?
Yes.
There you go.
But he's not.
But that's my
continue
point.
to follow him. But, you know, he's going to be out there campaigning for people he wants to win in 2022. I will predict now, you can put this on record, that President Biden will lose the House and the Senate in 2022. It will be Republican control on both houses, and he will still be the president, or maybe Kamala. Who knows by then? But it will be a split government by the time 2022 comes around.
You think he's going to get a Supreme Court nomination?
Yes.
Who?
Byer.
Really?
He's fucking in his 80s.
All right.
I don't think he wants to go down the route of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I think he will retire
when he has the opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to die in office.
Yeah, I'm surprised Ginsburg did that, honestly. I thought better her.
She was trying to hang out for Biden to be president. She almost made it. She just needed like 4 more months.
I don't know, but I don't know.
Everybody thought Hillary's going to be elected. Nobody expected Trump to beat Hillary. She planned on going like within the first year of Hillary's presidency.
Actually, what's funny is the sheer fact that Donald Trump was elected president of the United States restored a lot of my faith in the electoral process.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. Well, I mean, Reagan did it. I mean, not quite to the same extent.
No. Reagan was the governor of California before he was president. Donald Trump was never in political office before that.
And yeah, and just like president of the United States. That's so unbelievable. I keep thinking about running for some kind of office, but I don't know. When I get worked up, I do not really go with the brain to mouth filter, you know?
Yeah.
I'm taking everything I have to not cuss everyone out doing this show. I thought I paused the recording. I did not.
I didn't either. Oh, well. Our listeners will just live with it.
I can go back and find it. Jesus Christ, 11. Anyway, don't necessarily follow us on other platforms. Just know that we're on other platforms when we eventually get banned from whatever and whatever and whatever.
We're there.
Yeah, we got a Gmail. If we actually get some listens, we might even set up our own webpage.
Yeah.
It's always a good time.
Definitely.
You know, like I said, just a couple of drunk couple of drunk vets.
Yep.
BSing about what's pissing them off, what's going on.
Yep.
We'll say I gave a shout out to Biden to start though, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
With his baby food thing.
Yep.
All right, well, I guess that's it, folks.
All right.
All right. Peace all.
Loving it.